because I tend to use my hands too. I want to thank you for inviting me here. I've never been to Alberta. I've been to Canada certainly before, but never this far west. And I have to let you know, your weather is the same weather we have had in Pennsylvania. It's terrible. We have had it. Everybody has had it. So I know getting ready to come here tonight, I was looking out the window seeing the snow, I was like, yeah. But they say it's getting better, so thank God. We're going to talk tonight about a very, very serious concern that just seems to replicate, and the cycle just seems to continue. And it's why deaf children tend to read at the 3rd, 4th grade level, why they tend to kind of max out there. There are no cognitive reasons. There is no reason a deaf child who is a normal deaf child can't be reading on the same levels a hearing child reads on. The brain's the same, everything's the same. What happens is the linguistic input and the instructional input is very different. And through the research I've done and being a teacher and working with teachers, I realized that the things that I can control are the things in school. I can't control what the parents decide to do. I can't control things outside of school, but I can work on making the school a better place for deaf children. I came to this field as a hearing person, having no deaf parents or deaf experience or anything, just except a love for language and culture. Went to a master's program that very much supported signed English, using your voice at the same time. Same as most programs across the country in the United States. I'm not sure about the programs in Canada, but that is still pretty much the status quo. And as we're going to go through tonight, it's one of the things that has really limited deaf children's ability to read at better levels. And we're going to see why that is. I know you all have seen the statistic if you were in deaf ed or deaf or know anything about deafness. Very famous, year after year. Most deaf kids, the average deaf kid graduates as a senior with a 3rd, 4th reading grade level. Like a 10-year-old, a 9 or 10-year-old. You don't get good jobs with a 9 or 10-year-old literacy skills. And this is despite interventions of trying to make English more visible on the hands. That was the idea of signed English. If you just sign everything you say, well then it'll be just like a hearing kid hearing the words coming in. It does not work that way. And we're going to talk tonight about why that just fails miserably. Because it sounds really good, but it doesn't work. And the biggest proof I have is we keep getting this. If it worked, and 90% of the schools in the United States used that, this would not be the case. This statistic would have changed by now. It has not. So we're going to go through why that is. Some encouraging news, though, and certainly there are deaf children that read above grade level. And there are deaf children who read way below 3rd or 4th grade level, too. So but the average is always within that 3rd, 4th grade. We had when I was at Boston University, we got awarded a Title I grant for 5 years, which was a multi-million-dollar grant, to work with a Scranton State School for the Deaf. It's a very old school in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is a huge state in the United States that has 3 very old deaf schools in it. One in Pittsburgh, one in Philadelphia, and one in Scranton. And old, back to the Civil War time old. They had started as an oral program like most schools. I'm sorry, they did not. It was founded by a deaf man. So it started off with sign language. And then it changed, of course, to oral only. And then it became SimCom. Until we got this grant in place and it changed over to a dual language format, which means our intent is that children develop American Sign Language very strongly, and also English, if they are able to process it auditorily, the spoken English classes, and if they are not, through print. So both language very strong, and that's the focus of our program. Took us 5 years to change attitudes, ways of teaching, a lot of long-held traditions and ideas that people had to reorient people, to start looking from a deaf child's point of view rather than from a hearing person's point of view and adding signs or doing it our way. We got in a lot more deaf teachers. We got in a program called the ASL Models Program, which is we hired deaf adults who were native signers, and we paired them with teachers whose sign skills were not fluent, so that the teacher was freed up to teach the material and not limited because she could linguistically not get it out. So say it was a science class and she wanted to talk about her geography, plate tectonics or something, but she could speak the concept, but she could not get out in American Sign Language. The ASL model would be able to do that so that it didn't keep the curriculum down, it really opened it up for everybody. And that has been a huge blessing at that school. And our results so far, we're working on a paper right now, is over 80% of our students in that 5-year period, we've doubled the national reading level. Most deaf kids improve by 0.3 months in their reading every year on the average. We got 0.6. It's still not grade level, it's still not huge, but considering what's out there and what's normal, it's huge, it's doubled it. So we're very, very encouraged by that, and we want more and we want better. So what we want to know, and this is how we set up this program, why? Why is it this third, fourth? What are the linguistic reasons? It's not just random, it's not just, well, you know, that's how good they get. There are specific reasons, and that's what I want to look at, just a few of them tonight. Parents always tell me, you know, I want my child to read at grade level. And absolutely, absolutely that's what we want, or above. However, if they do not have 4 basic factors in place, it will not happen. Number 1, you have to have a language base. You cannot read at grade level if you start at age 5 years old and go to school, you know, knowing 3 English words and 7 signs. There's no way to get at grade level. You're already behind the 8 ball by 5 years there. So, you know, and I have to be very careful with parents because it's not blaming the parents. I know what the medical people tell them. I know the different advice they get from lots of people. I know trying to do the right thing for their child is a very difficult process. But what happens is, you know, and especially now most kids getting implanted, doctors are telling them don't sign. We're now seeing children, I just tested a child who was 7 years old with minimal language skills in any language because the doctor kept saying don't sign, just keep talking, keep talking, keep talking. She's 7 years old, minimal language skills, and now they're going to let her sign. So I mean, kind of ridiculous things of trying to get to a grade level reading with no language base, it can't be done. It doesn't mean you give up. You know, I get the child at 5, put him with an ASL model and just get that language in there, number one. But we see this again and again and again. The emphasis on trying to teach English and reading and writing before they have any language base to draw on. So they have to have that, and most of our kids don't. The second thing is, the school absolutely cannot do it on its own. There's no way to get a child to grade level reading and expect the school to do it. Number 1, just because the amount of time the child's in school. There's just not enough hours in the day. And whether the child is hearing or deaf or whatever, you know what parents have to do. Just in explaining, just in expanding on the language, just, you know, tons and tons of just language experience stuff. Parents have to do that all relates to getting a child to read on grade level. The third thing is, you want a grade level reader, school has to be teaching the children the right tools for reading. If they're teaching, like I'm going to show you, the way most deaf children learn to read, they're not going to get the right instruction and they're going to level up. And the final thing is that we don't put enough emphasis on, if the child is not motivated to read himself, he's not going to be a grade level reader. The sheer amount of vocabulary that a deaf child has to take in after 4th grade has got to come through reading and reading and reading and reading a ton. And this is hard because just like hearing kids, there's many hearing and deaf hearing kids that don't want to read, that are not interested. Same thing with deaf kids, even more so, because many of them learn to hate reading. It's because it's so hard to get at, it doesn't make sense. Because English has so many different words for things. So there becomes a real, forget it. It's just something that makes me angry and frustrated. So these are just the 4 basic factors if you want a grade level reader. And when you think of most deaf kids, 2 are missing, 1's missing. I mean, it's difficult. I show this to parents. This chart. And to teachers too, just to give a visual on, here's what we're up against if we're looking at just the school. So suppose this is a deaf child's year. The pie shape represents the full year. 75% of that time is spent outside of school. Other activities, sleeping, whatever. 25% of that time is in school. So if you took a day with 24 hours, and you took off 12 for sleeping, and you took off 6 for after school, whatever, you're left with 6 hours. In 6 hours, those kids have to learn math, science, social studies, gym, health, art, everything else they have to learn. When you do the math and you crunch it way down, what it comes down to is about 200 hours a year to teach English to a deaf child. 200 hours. I challenge anybody in this room to learn another language in 200 hours. It can't be done, and that's it. You would only, say if you took Japanese, only at school. You don't get to hear it anywhere else, you don't get to see it anywhere else, it's only in school. You would only get so far. Has to be more. There has to be more outside of school. The 4 things we're going to look at tonight for changing the school, because the school is what I can control. I can't control the other parts of it. I can control what they do in the schools. So 4 reasons why kids get to this 3rd, 4th grade level and kind of plateau out. The first area is vocabulary, and these aren't in order of what's most important. These are just 4 basic areas. Issues of vocabulary development. The second thing is, this way we teach deaf children to read is very faulty. I'm going to show you some real examples of it. Third, reading is not just looking at the print. There's all this background stuff behind it too that you need to bring to it. And fourthly, if you do an analysis of how text changes just in the elementary years, it's astounding how quickly it gets more difficult. And we're going to look at that. So just 4 basic areas. So the first factor of why they get to this 3rd, 4th grade, most of them. And again, some do fantastic. The kids, usually with deaf parents, we have a school for the deaf in Maryland. The Maryland School for the Deaf is primarily a huge population of deaf professionals that work at Gallaudet, that work in the Washington area, whose children go there. These guys are all on grade level, as it should be. They have the language, they have the parents behind them, they're readers, and the school's doing it the right way. And this is the model that we want. This is the way it should be done. Clear communication, accessible, always understanding what's going on, not guessing. So the first thing we look at is vocabulary. I'll give you a minute to look at this chart. When I did these numbers, I couldn't believe it. This is based on research, the hearing part, on hearing research, on just how vocabulary explodes for hearing kids. It explodes. In 2nd grade, most hearing kids can read and identify 2,000 to 5,000 words. Compared to deaf kids at 2nd grade, in English, the average kid maybe can read between 300 and 500. Again, there are other kids that can read 2,000 to 5,000 English words. But the average kid who hasn't had parents who have signed, who have not had clear communication, who have not had a good language base, are way, way lower. 3rd grade, it bumps up another 3,000. As it goes on. So by 6th grade, the average 6th grade hearing kid can read about 20,000 words. The textbook makers are making textbooks for kids that can read 20,000 words. They're not making textbooks for deaf kids who can read at 6th grade under 2,000 words. So right away, you see, at 6th grade, most deaf kids can read about 2,000 words. This does not mean, however, that they don't know the concepts. In ASL, the numbers could be the same if they've had good input. So meaning, by sixth grade, they'd have 20,000 of the ASL concepts. They just have not learned the English word for it yet. It doesn't mean, they don't know what this means. They do. Satisfied. I know what that means. I don't know SAT, what it is in English. I can't identify it there. And that's all that is. But it's getting them to transfer over everything they know to the English print. And that's the challenge. Another graph of how hard it is. This was research done on hearing children, looking at good readers and poor readers of hearing children. And wanting to know, one factor, looking at just the vocabulary, what was the difference between good readers and poor readers? And they found out, this particular researcher found out that just sheer amounts of how much they read, how many words they read by 4th grade was an indicator. So just being in print constantly. She calculated that by 4th grade, fourth grade, good readers had read almost 180,000 words. So they were reading constantly. And I don't know how you guys do it in Canada, but I remember growing up in school, in reading class you had groups, and you knew who the kids who were really good readers, you know who the kids who were kind of middle readers, and you knew the kids that were like coloring pictures and not reading. You just knew. And always the good readers were reading lots of books and lots of novels and everything. The middle readers were working more on things. And the poor readers, the ones who needed to read the most, weren't reading, were doing other things. So she found that poor hearing readers, by 4th grade, read about half of what the good hearing readers had read. Just time in print, reading. If you look at deaf kids, how much time they spend in print by 4th grade, to look at this chart, they're not even reading, they haven't even had access to enough as a poor hearing reader would have. Just sheer amounts of how much they're in reading, how much time they're made to read, how much time they're made to interact with print. So that's a huge one. One of the things we changed at the Scranton State School of the Deaf is the way teachers teach vocabulary. For hearing kids, a typical Monday's lesson is a spelling lesson. You have 10 spelling words, and you learn it, and then on Friday you have a test. Well, we thought, for deaf kids we'll do the same things. On Monday we'll have 10 words, and on Friday we'll have a test. As if it's the same thing. It's not the same thing. Hearing kids have 10 words they already know. They're just learning the spelling patterns. So if the 10 words for the hearing kid is cries, fries, lies. I can't think of words are wrong with it. They're just learning the spelling patterns. They already know the words. They're not new words to them. As opposed to deaf kids, who every Monday will get 10 brand new words they've never seen before and have to incorporate them. And what happens is, usually teachers will pick themes. I did this. I had no other way of doing it. This made sense. So if it's Halloween time, and it's Monday, you'll teach pumpkin, ghost, trick or treat, candy. But, all the words that go with Halloween. On Friday, they take the test. They usually get 100 or a really good score. But what happens 2 weeks later? They're reading, they come to the word G-H-O-S-T. Never seen it. Never seen it. And the teacher will get mad. The teacher does not understand that. Yes, you did a good job teaching it. They probably did enough. The problem is the child has not seen that word enough in context to get it to move from short-term memory to long-term memory where it just stays. I was taught to do this. I did this for years. I didn't know any other way to do it. It made sense. You teach it really good, but you get so frustrated because then they don't remember it when it comes up in print. It's like, as opposed to the hearing kid who can go, ghost, oh, ghost, and get it fast. So what we have suggested that teachers do, instead of using these theme-based, there's a high-frequency list of words. Edward Fry has one, Dale Chall has one, 3,000 words. And all they are is a list of the most frequent words in print. So the idea is that if you really drill these into the kids and make them work with it, and make them read a ton, these words are naturally going to come up a lot, and they're going to keep seeing them and seeing them and seeing them, so that it has a better chance to move to long-term memory. And exactly what happens if you have a really strong reading program, they're reading a lot. And we had huge success with that. And it's free on the internet. If you Google in Edward Fry or Dale Chall, you get the 3,000 word list. The second factor, which is the most heinous, I believe, of all, and not because teachers are evil, this is the way I learned to teach, is because we're not linguists. And we don't have the language background to know why this is going to fail. We teach children, deaf children, how to read using a method that makes sure they will not succeed. We're going to talk about that. And not because teachers are evil. It's because that's how they were trained to do this. This is how I was trained. This is how I started doing it my very first year. I was trained that see a word, attach a sign to the word. See the word, attach a sign to the word. Same as the English. Okay, I had no linguistic background, it made sense to me. If hearing kids hear it, deaf kids see it. Parallel process. Totally is not when you look at it. We're going to look at why. We want deaf kids to be fluent. We want them to look at the print and go, oh, okay, it means this. Fluency in reading is like riding a bike. You don't just hop on a bike and pedal away when you're little. You get on, you have to do all these things that are integrated. You have to learn how to steer. You have to learn how to balance. You have to learn how to monitor your speed. You have to learn how to keep your head up so you're not looking down and bashing into stuff. You have all these things that have to be integrated so that you can get on them right away. That's what the reading process is like. That's what we have to get deaf kids to, where they just read it and their eyes are comfortable and you can see it going in. It is not the way most deaf kids read. You see them struggling, you see them confused, and you see them just spitting it back because they're not sure what it means. And that's not what we want. So this active approach is exactly that. It's active. It's not passive. Deaf children have taught to be very passive in their reading. They see the word, they sign it. See it, they sign it. This is a very passive. I'm just throwing it back at you. I'm not required to think. I'm just throwing it back. And this is the example. This is how deaf children are generally taught to read. Most of the children. If you asked anybody what's the sign for leave, now I'm teaching a deaf child to read, and I'd say, okay, what does that say? And the deaf child would say, leave. I would say, okay. Okay, so I want him to read a sentence. He's reading the sentence. What's it say? Leave. Good, good. What's it say? Yes. Room. Good, good. Next sign. What's that say? And the child would sign. 4. Yes. Leave. Room. 4. Good, good. And the last word. What's that say? The child would sign. Dessert. Now for hearing people who aren't really understanding this is like so. For deaf people, what would a deaf child think just looking at these signs? If you this is transliterated, looking at the word and changing it exactly to one sign. Not necessarily the right sign, and these are not the right signs, but one sign. So this sign, leave, means to physically remove yourself. Go away somewhere. Leave. Leave. Beat it. Go. Leave. This sign means room. A physical place, such as this room. So far we have leave the room. Everybody with me on that? Right? 4, not a problem. And dessert, not a problem. The problem is in the multiple meanings of leave and room. At the end of the sentence, what does a deaf kid think? Your beverage room, your meat room, dessert dessert room out there somewhere. Of course that's what they're going to come to. You taught them to think that way as a teacher. Leave room for dessert. Okay. Has nothing to do with what that sentence means. Nothing. It means, don't eat so, I mean, hearing parents and deaf parents do, too. They don't use these words. They will say, don't eat so much. Don't fill yourself up. Leave some space here. There's lots of ways to interpret that. And I would very, very much suggest during the reception after, ask deaf adults, how would you sign that? Because there's lots of ways they can sign it that are beautiful. And the intent of what it means. But this is how deaf children are taught to read. Word, change. Word, change. Word, change. So, for example, you're a deaf kid, and this is the way you learn to read. What would this sentence mean? Sign for, if you ask take, they'd probably sign take. As in to take, grab something, your watch. Time. Right? They would think, take your watch. Okay. And it means, take your time, slow down, don't hurry, relax. You would never get to that, meaning, signing, take your time. You have told them, in no uncertain terms, that it means, no, take your watch. This one I love. What do we say the sign for leave was? Most deaf kids will think this. In this sentence, what does leave mean? The exact opposite of take it away. Keep. Stay. Don't take away. Don't leave. It means the opposite of this. So, you have horror stories of deaf kids doing, I can see a deaf kid going, teacher saying, read the sentence. Leave your boots by the door. Leave boots by door. Okay. And taking them and putting them somewhere else, and the teacher getting upset and being like, why didn't you do what I told you to do? You told me to leave them. It's crazy. Make up your mind. If you sign it the way they teach kids to sign it, they sign make, as in to make something, like construct. Make up your mind. It means, think yourself, decide. You can't get to it that way. Are these seats taken? Most deaf children will think that means pick them up and you put them away. And simply meaning, are these available? Can I sit here? But you can see, and these are kindergarten, first grade sentences. These are not high level, sophisticated. But when you are very little, and this is the way you learn to read, you can do it for kindergarten, first grade, because a lot of the words will be kind of the same. After that, it goes crazy. So this is one of the worst things that we do to deaf kids as far as teaching them to read. This video clip where'd it go? I don't see that little screen thing anymore. It's like blank.
Just touch it.
Oh. Okay. This is a clip of for me, a poster child for this 3rd, 4th grade reading Ridiculous Plateau. This boy is 18 years old, deaf, had been in a mainstream program, a small deaf program, has learned to sign, word, transliterate. And this past September came to our school. And the clip I'm going to show you is working with him. And what he's trying to, he's word by word by word, and he's just doesn't get it. 18 years old, and fine. Nothing wrong with him. I've written 5 workbooks for deaf kids, and the first one was on multiple meanings, and it was getting kids to think outside of one word, one meaning. So they have like one word such as get, and then they have 4 different, I'll get a horse. I've been doing my math, I don't get it. She keeps getting in the way. Different uses, and they have to pick out the hand shape that they would use for that, and then draw the picture and talk about that. It's second grade. He's working on this. He doesn't know what grade it is, and I would never make him feel humiliated or anything. But he's working on this, and I said, I want you to think. You have to start thinking about what you're reading, not just throwing it back. I want you to think about what you're reading and how you're going to sign this. Because really, he has a very strong transliteration style. So I want you to stop doing that. Read it with your eyes and give me a translation. Not a transliteration, but a translation. What does it mean in American Sign Language? So this is what he's, the clip of him working on this book.
Hi, my name's Tim. I went to another school and then I decided to come back here to Scranton, Pennsylvania. I'm learning how to read words, like learning things here. Didn't understand what the words meant, and I struggled with reading at the time. Now with ASL, I'm doing it in ASL. I've been here for 3 years, learning things about reading words. The teacher says I'm doing a pretty good job. So I read, and then they've asked me what I should read, and they ask me questions, and then my answers are fine, or the teacher says they're fine. When I went to the class, or I looked around, and they were really fluent in ASL. I didn't understand what I was reading. I was just completely out of it. And they were reading it and providing a translation, and been doing this for about 3 months. So 3 months later,
That's my name.
I was using ASL, trying to visualize the meaning from print from English to ASL. I think I'm doing better. I'm trying to figure out what I'm reading. I look at the vocabulary and then I figure out, I visualize something and then produce something in ASL. I think I'm understanding things. I feel great, pretty good about being here. I really like it here.
So here's the sentences he's reading for call. He's got to now translate it to American Sign Language. You know, I'm going to voice for him because I want to make sure he gets all the... I hope the teacher doesn't call me on the phone. No, I mean, I hope the teacher doesn't call me when I don't know the answer. And you can see how uncomfortable he is. And then we talk about it and I try to say, what do you think it means? Oh man, I hope the teacher doesn't call me by my name, Tim. I hope not. I don't know what the answer is. And this, I don't know. I don't know. Still not sure. I hope the teacher doesn't call me because I don't know what the answer is. And that's the way you should have done it. Not perfect, but much better. This sentence is the next one he reads. The water is leaking. There's leaking water. Don't catch on fire. Your hair, catch on fire. Completely off. There it is. And he thinks he saw leak for lean. Okay, number 40. Don't lean your head over. If you lean your head over the stove like that, if you lean over like that, your hair is going to catch on fire. Much better. Okay, number 2. Noel's baseball team lost, but the score was 4-2-7. He's exactly transliterating that. and has no, wait a minute, no, stop, stop, stop. Okay, number 2 again. Girls' baseball team lost, but it was 4-7, and the team was trying, to get 45 to 67. 45 to 67. Still not there. Okay, number 3 again. Okay, Mill's baseball team was losing. It was 4-7. Oh man, they hope they can catch up. They hope they can get the score up to 7. So you made it tie. Better. Not perfect, but much better. Number 2. Oh, I had working on this boring math and just for hours and hours and hours, but I'm not finished with it yet. Okay, again. I've been working on this math. Wait a minute, number 2 again. I've been working on this math and it's so boring, it's taking me hours, but I still haven't finished with the work. He still doesn't understand what the phrase, I still don't get it means. I have been working and working and working on this. I still don't understand this. Wait again. I've been working and working and working on this math for hours and hours and hours, and I still don't understand it. And this is, he's in a remediation thing, a one-on-one, getting him to get off of this print. This has taken all year to get him to think off of print and think at the deep structure, what does it mean? Now, what does it say? What does it mean? He's had 12 years of thinking of words as single entities, and this is so hard. And I told him, I said, you got to relax. I know it's frustrating. I get it. You haven't been taught to think. And now you are. And he has done so much better now. That was kind of in the early part of the year. But he's done so much better. He's not, hasn't made huge, grade level leaps, but he now can look at something and go, oh, here's what I think it means. Instead of that glazed over, I don't know. 18. This clip is a clip of a little boy. I test all the kids at the Scranton State School for the Deaf annually with a running record, and it's a reading comprehension test. And with hearing kids, you would test each word and listen to what they say and mark it off if they got it right or wrong. I don't want the deaf kids reading word by word. I want them to read it with their eyes and translate it and tell me what it means in American Sign Language. So we have a different way of coding it. This kid now, this is the beginning of our grant work. He's 5 years old, and he's been taught to read this. Now, he's just at the beginning. Just at the beginning. Okay, the mother pig did not see. The sentence is, the mother pig did not see me holding the baby. Mother, this is first grade reading. The mother not happy. She would not be happy seeing me holding the pig. Something like that. I'm telling him to read it again. He's just transliterating words. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know what this means. I don't like this. I like that one. Come on. Come on. You can do this, right? Remember, if you sound it like this, now word for word, the mother pig did not see me. Holding. Okay. All right, let's go to the next sentence. She would not be happy to see me hold it. She pig, refuse, see. Okay, remember, don't sign it word for word. I want you to translate this. It's too confusing when you do that. I have no idea what I said though. Okay, remember this passage and that passage? Well, this one's really long. That's what was nice. This is ridiculous. Look at the length of this thing. Are you kidding me? That's exactly I don't know what this one means. Won't? Not. Stop. Look at the sentence. I can't see it. I can't see it. Okay. Will not. Happy. See me. Hold. I don't know what you're saying. You need to give me the translation. Dad! What's this mean? What does it mean? I don't know. I don't know. Pig, baby, won't, not, happy, 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 hold. Okay, let's do the next one. And name the baby pig Jim. Named. I don't know what that means. Name? Name? Do it again. Name. Named. Jim. I don't know what that means. J-I-M. I don't know what that is. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, what do you think? The whole sentence, what do you think? The baby pig is named J-I-M. Okay. 1 year later, after he's had instruction the right way, now he has learned how to do this the right way. This is his test 1 year later. Same shirt, which is okay. Kathy always wanted to go on a plane ride. Okay, not supposed to hit kids. I can't slow this down enough to show you what he did in American Sign Language in the transfer, but it was unbelievable what he did linguistically. For can't wait to get started. He did this. He's jumped 2 grade levels. A very bright kid, too. Okay. Okay, again. One day her father told her that she could go for a ride. She could visit her grandma and grandpa on an airplane. That's a long sentence to look at it that quickly and give it out. Oh, she was so happy. She couldn't wait to, this means couldn't wait to get started. And to be able to look at that phrase and do that quickly, it means he read it and got it. And this is 4 years later. And this was actually a 7th grade passage. And he's just translating exactly what it's, not exactly what it's saying. He's translating in American Sign Language what these sentences say. Family snake is the name of the group of snakes is a pit viper. And I said, what do you think that means? He said, no, I'm not really sure. Pit viper, what do you think? You know the shape of that head? It's like that. Yeah, good. You know, like a rattlesnake. Similar to the pit viper. And he's reading, and we don't have time to linguistically go through what he's doing here. But it, you can see in his body language, you can see in his 7th grade, and he was, I think, younger than 7th grade. I know he's younger than 7th grade. But he's not stuck. He's not stuck trying to figure out like he did at the very beginning. There's this pit in between the snake's face. It's like these little holes. Where is it? Right here on the cheek. Okay. Inside the pit, there's a membrane that's sensitive to heat. Inside that pit, there's a sensitive. What's that? Inside the pit. What is that? What does that mean? Like if they see something, there's this heat kind of activation. Okay, what's this mean? Membrane. What's that? I don't know. I'm not sure. What do you think it means? Something about the snake, something within that pit? Yeah, absolutely. But you can see just in the body language go from, I hate this, to, I can do this. And he's reading at grade level. And 7th grade text is not easy, but just, and I've shown him this tape and he laughs and laughs and laughs at it and talking about, I have a videotape of him looking at the tape and talking about how he felt back then and what it was like, but they've done so much better. But it's not easy. It takes a lot of cognitive energy to translate. It's not so hard to transliterate, but transliterating gets him nowhere. So, the question is, how do you teach him to do that? How do you start? This little clip, which it's very fuzzy, is an example of my kindergarten, 1st grade class. We had it for 2 years, and I worked with another deaf woman who unfortunately was not in this clip. But I like the clip because of a couple things the kids do. But we worked together as a team. So I was able to model the English, she was able to model the ASL, they could go back and forth, they had respect for both languages, a real healthy sense of, I'm really good at my first language, and I'm going to work at my second language, for both of us, for all of us. It was very freeing in the sense of, you can take risks, you can be wrong. We expect you to be wrong in your second language. That's how you learn, that's how you get better. So this is how we taught them to read the sentence and get off of the print. We made up this thing called a Messy Hair Club, which was silly. They're 5 and 6 years old, one boy's 4. Messy hair. And the task is, every morning the kids would come in, and on the blackboard, they would see several sentences. Simple, fairly simple sentences, but they were not patterned. It was not, today is sunny, today is hot, today is Monday, today. It was not patterned. So there was no way they could just like zone out till it was their turn and go, oh, today is, and just copy the kid before them. Can't do that. They had to read it and think about it. So forcing them from the get-go to think. That reading and thinking. It wasn't simply spitting stuff back. So their goal is they have to read it, they have to come up to the board, turn their body toward the board, so symbolizing one language, look at the sentence, put their hands down so they didn't sign it, read the sentence with their eyes, turn away, because trying to get them to understand that's one language, this is a second language. So they can't just look at it and sign it. Really getting them to make a distinction, to separate it. And then they'd have to give an ASL translation. If they did it right, and they always did it right, we'd mess up their hair and they'd put their name on it. It was stupid, but it worked. Yeah, they're fine. So this is what you're seeing in there. Okay. The sentence that, the first one, don't worry about. The second sentence says, who is absent? And I forgot the question mark. And she's already read it and answering what the question is. Kyle! Okay, who wants to join the club? Who wants to join this club? All right. These guys are 5 and 6, and one little boy at the end is 4. Okay, what's this sentence say? So quickly she translates this to ASL, who's absent. Run, good. Okay, wait a minute. Do it again because I sort of missed it. Who's absent? Go, good. Okay, good job. Yeah, okay. Shut up, sit down, let's move up. All right. Okay, hey. Ugh. Okay, my turn. Hey, my turn. Hey. What's the answer? Who's absent? Hey, come over here. What's the answer? Who's absent? Who? Hey, who's absent? What are you saying? Not clear. Kyle. Yeah, Kyle's absent again. You know why? Do you know why? I know why. I'll let you know. He went to Disneyland. He's on the Ferris wheel. He's at Splash Mountain. He's having a riot right now. Just letting you know. I'm sorry. You guys are stuck here. Yep, he's in Florida. Too bad, babe. Yeah, I know he's in Florida. So she's jumped down and already read the sentence. Never mind. Okay. All right. Who's next? Me. It's me. No, it's me. Okay. Her sentence is, today is not Monday, and in parentheses it says, thank God. A little tired that week. Okay. She came from a very strong signed English program, and her mother moved her for her preschools. What does that say? Thank God. Usually I don't tell them that one didn't count. Thank God. Oh, thank God. Okay. Today. Okay, let's watch it. Let's watch it. Okay. Today is not, thank God. Today is, what? I know this. This is what I know. What? He's signing is. Don't sign is. He's saying that little word with caps. You don't sign is. No. What's this? Monday. Monday. Okay. Okay. Look at it again. Look at it again. Today is not Monday. Did she sign that right? Yeah. If you sign it like this, remember, can't do that. Today, not Monday. Okay, that's still a little English. I want you to really sign it. Really think about this. Today is not. You don't sign it! Oh man! Today is not Monday. If you join the club, if you do it that way? No. Remember, read with your eyes, look away, think, and you sign the American Sign Language. Okay? Today is not Monday. Now, she doesn't write, I miss her. It's like, oh, I missed it. Do it again. Today's not Monday. She does a much better job. Good. That girl is a gal that graduated top of her class. Profoundly deaf. Hearing parents, fantastic. This kid, 4 years old, deaf parents. Had unbelievable language already. His sentence says, it is sunny. I'm not sunny. You're not sunny? I don't know. It is sunny. What is this? I don't know. Well, what is it outside today? He's telling him the answer in the corner. Hey, it's sunny. It's sunny. Okay. I'm... No! You idiot! What? It's sunny. Very helpful. Hey, it's sunny! For God's sake! Look. Hang on. Here's how he solves the problem. He doesn't know what it means. Very smart kid. This kid's trying to tell him the answer. Hey. Okay, it. Is that the same word? It. Is that the same word? No. Nah, it's a different word. Hey. It means the reference out there. Hang on, I'll solve this problem. Take out the T. Says I now. And then I read a comparison sentence form. It is not raining. He fake throws down his hat so he can tell me the answer for the 50th time. It's sunny today. It's sunny. Hey, he told me the answer. Now she starts getting ticked off because he's got 2 sentences to read. And she's going to go tell me. And she's going to sign not funny, but she means not fair. That's not funny. That's not funny. It's not fair. What? It's just not. She signed funny. She means not fair. It's not fair. Sit down, sister. Okay. I got 2, baby. 2 sentences. Really? 2. Right there. Have a seat. Okay. All right. Hey, don't tell me I got this. Okay. It's not raining. It's not raining. Good for you. All right, it's not raining. It's not good for you. There's no not there. You're thinking there. Good for you. It's not. It's sunny. It's sunny today. It's sunny. I'm done. Yeah. And then I just have to beat a dead horse. But he's done. Hey, there's no rain to speak of out there. No, there's no rain at all. It's not raining. No, forget it. It's sunny. Yeah, you're right. I just keep talking to myself. You're right. It's sunny. Yep, it's sunny. Good for you. That's a hard, tough thing. Good for you. Yeah, he just wants to get his head out. He could care less at this point. Yep. Okay. Thanks. Yep. Okay. Have a seat. comparing, having fun, laughing. Oh, boy's 4 years old, and he has deaf parents. I mean, very, very smart, strong deaf parents, too. He totally had the edge. All of those kids went to college. Every single one of them. Had good parents behind them, too, really working with them. And they started off right, and we kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And there's no reason we can't get kids there. Sorry. But we did that every single day. And we would do it to the point where kids would be like, more, let's do some more. I'm like, we really got to fit in math and science and other stuff. But they loved it. They loved it, and their scores showed it at the end of 2 years. They scored better. I gave them the SAT test. I don't know if you guys do that in Canada. The yearly SAT test, Stanford Achievement Test. Normed, a regular norm test. I graded them. I scored them. I got their scores, and then I went to the book, The Norms, and they have it by ages, so that you can scale their score and see how they fit in. And nobody was over 7. These guys were not, they were little. They weren't over 7. After 2 years, the little boy was 4, then 5. The rest of them were like 5, then 6. One, I think, was 7. So I'm looking, I have all their scores, and I'm going to change it to the norms. So I'm looking through the booklet that they send out, and unbelievably, the booklet doesn't even start norming kids, deaf children, until they're 8 years old and up. Which meant, I was absolutely irate, which meant we can't even expect deaf kids to be reading yet by age 7. So I had to put down on their score, I had to judge them as if they were 8-year-olds, even they were younger, and say, please understand that these grades, they're actually above grade level. I have to judge them as 8-year-olds because our nation doesn't even think that we could possibly have deaf kids reading at 7 years old, that we could have norms for. So, ridiculous. But clearly they can do it. And clearly they can have fun with it and enjoy it, and from the get-go, do well with it. If they have a language base, those guys have a language base. If they didn't, we'd have to, my ASL person I was working with, have to build that first. These guys did great. One of the hard things with English, back to the factors, is multiple meanings. You can pick almost any category and find words that never mean what kids think they mean. So just if you pick food, she's nuts. You can't sign that. She's nuts. She's nuts. She's crackers, meaning she's nuts. A cheesy smile has nothing to do with the food. The boy's a shrimp. What a hand, you're a peach, he has nice buns, sandwich or workout, I'm chicken, on and on and on. These are just food words that have double meanings. So I was thinking about it and thinking, God, we could just look at breakfast. And if I gave this to a deaf kid, they would think this paragraph was about breakfast foods. I'll give you a minute to look at it. I actually had fun doing that. Made my husband sit there and like, what else? What else for breakfast? Waffle, pancake. I'm like, oh my God, there's just so many English words. Yep, to butter. I mean, there's so many. And this just goes on and on and on. So one way we combat that is to get deaf kids early on thinking that don't think one word has one meaning. If you're reading a sentence and the word that you think is you see the word and you think it means something, but it doesn't fit in that sentence, it must be one of those words that has another meaning. So that's the first strategy, is to step back and go, okay, what does it mean? What's the sentence talking about? Another book that's being published right now is Beginning Multiple Meanings for Deaf Kids, for little deaf kids, so I would use it with this group. What they do is they have one key word, so on this page the words fly, F-L-Y, and they have 2 sentences. The kid has to read it, translate it, act it out, give experiences that he's had with it, talk about it, da-da-da. Then they cut out the handshake that the word F-L-Y in that sentence how you would sign it. So in that first sentence, she will fly in a plane, you would use this fly. So they cut out this handshake and put that in the box so they can see FLY. In that sentence, they'd use this one. Just a visual so they can see how it can change. In the second sentence, oh yeah, there's a fly in my soup. You would never sign fly in my soup. It's a fly, or other flies. There's different ways to sign it. And however the way the kid picks, it's fine with me. I don't care as long as they don't do this. They can do this, this, whatever they pick. But you can see where the two handshakes are different, and they can see it and say, okay, sometimes words are going to show up different. And this last clip is of boy SCP. He is so cute. He's doing their he's just sitting there offline. This is the sentence they read, and now they're just telling what it means. Kids are deaf. They know how to sign. And then that's his drawing. And he picked this for signs. That's why he's got a 1. Kids are deaf. And they know how to sign. This guy has some autistic stuff, and he has done so much better. Ugh, yeah. Ugh, my God. There's a fly in my soup. It's in my mouth. The bug. There's a fly. It's in my mouth. So did not say that. It's in my mouth. And JP's his teacher. She's in all of his things. She is a fly. Ugh, I looked in my soup, and there's a bug in there. Ugh, disgusting. And there's her picture. He's the same sentence. My bowl of soup. There's a fly. There's a fly in my bowl of soup. Oh, yuck. Ugh. I love this picture. I'm very sick. I have a runny nose. The key word here was run. Oh, hey. Oh, I'm sick. Well, I got a runny nose. Oh, sick. Got a runny nose. My nose is so runny. Nice pictures. Oh, sick. I got a runny nose. And now I got to sign it however they felt they would sign it. Good job. Like just a little clip up for the memo. But these, I like this because 2 of those kids in there are special needs, and before the teachers were like, well, they can't, this is too high level for them. Absolutely not. This other book that I showed you with the boy doing, this is a little bit higher level, and what the kid has to do is the same thing. Instead of having 2, they'd have 4. 1 word, 4 different uses. Just to really get in that idea that English there isn't just 1 word for each meaning. So this kid is now at RIT, Rochester Institute of Technology, as a graphic designer. He's such a good drawer, profoundly deaf. He would come up with pictures. I was like, oh my God, they're so cute. So this was his. So the first one, turn on a light, it's dark in here. Oh, I guess you would have to see it to make it see. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Okay. Turn on the light. Sign for a light. And the first one's okay. Did he illustrate that sentence appropriately? Yeah. The second one, the kitten is light, but the puppy is heavy. Isn't that good? I mean, these are his ideas. I didn't tell him ever what to draw or talk. This was him. How would you do this? Perfect. is for keep. I found a dog, I want to keep it. This is funny because where the school that I was in Massachusetts was down near the Cape, and there's a lot of Portuguese people down there. And a lot of the other older grandmothers have like a bun on the top of their head. That's what he told me it was. One of the grandmothers. I keep the dog? No way. But his pictures are so right on. I love the second one. I have too much homework, I can't keep up. And look at his illustration, how he illustrates that he can't keep up. You know, I can't think he did that instead of that, but there's different ways of doing it. But you got the pile of homework that's not finished, and the one that's finished. He was so good. And this was, like second grade they were doing it. This was the beginning book of the same, oh no, I'm sorry, this is for figurative language, this is different. This is not only multiple meanings, I want the kids also to know idioms. And for deaf kids, little deaf kids, they commonly start off with, you know, we think, you know, it's raining cats and dogs. An idiom is anything that doesn't mean exactly what it says. So for little kids, for me, phrasal verbs are their first idioms. The sign, you know, if you said, you know, Mom said get up. You're not getting anything. It's not from up. It means get up. Mom said get up. Get dressed. Turn around. Turn over. Tons and tons of them. So that's a book that's coming out now. Get along. You would never sign get along or whatever. So they have to read it, draw the picture for it, and then write their own sentence for it. Then the book that's a little bit harder than that, they get this little paragraph. In context, they have to read it. And then, because they're a little bit older, I force them to do two things. You know, they have to read it and talk about what do you think it means, what do you think that the bold print means. And then I tell them, okay, I want you to draw, if that was literally true, if those words meant exactly what they meant, draw it. And the reason I want them to do that is so they see how absurd that would be. So they start developing more of a gut, that's ridiculous. It can't mean that. It must be one of those idioms or whatever. It must be one of those figurative languages. Then they have to draw what it really means. So the first one, out like a light. This kid is so good. It's kind of hard to see, but this first picture is a light bulb in a bed, like someone pulling the plug. I know it's hard. So that would be like out like a light, if it literally meant that. Then he has to draw what it really means. So that phrase, out like a light, did he capture it? Do you feel? Yeah. And the question here is, how do you know he really gets that concept of out like a light? Not just the girl was tired, not just, you know, oh, she was like, oh, I just need to go to bed. He knows that it means dead tired. What did he do in his drawing that you can see that he got that concept? You see the Z's, right? Z's are huge, signifying that he's gone. My favorite part of this, though, is he drew the guy upside down on the bed, like not lying on his back, lying on his front, to signify like the guy was so tired, he just flopped into bed. That is so good. And also the arms just like hanging there. That's what out like a light means. I never told him how to draw anything like that. I never even had a concept. I don't know how I would have done it. He was so good at this. But because he understood what it meant and could relate it to his own life and what stuff meant. I'll give you a minute to read this one. So here's this girl late for work. She didn't get a chance to eat anything. She feels lightheaded. If lightheaded really meant a light head, that's a light head. When I was writing this book, I don't know how I would have illustrated it. That's why I was anxious to see what the kids were going to do, to see if I was going to keep it as target phrases or not. Isn't that good? I was like, oh my God, that's perfect. Because it's that, oh, he was so good. Okay. The third factor and reason why they get to this level is because reading is much more than just reading the print. All the stuff behind it that you bring to print is crucial. Background knowledge, the way you develop your schema, the way you interconnect things, the way you are able to inference, the way you know about cultural things. And that's what he says. All right, this is not funny unless you know the English phrasing and you know the story behind the cartoon. And not many people are laughing, so I'm going to guess. This is a story about the Trojan horse. Back in Greek times, remember, inside the horse are the soldiers from the other town. They're inside, they pretend the other guys come and bring like a big gift. They're going to give it. But inside are soldiers that are waiting for nightfall to come out of that horse and come out and kill everybody there. The Trojan horse story, that's the behind part of it. The part that, to me, is very funny is what happens on the inside. And if you have not heard this in English, it really doesn't make sense when you look at it in print. You almost have to say these cartoons out loud. First of all, who's talking? Inside the horse. And how do you know? Because you got your marks coming from the horse, like there's talking. And deaf kids don't know that right off. You know, not necessarily know that means there's someone talking in it, to directly say. Here's the part that's the hard part. This is italicized. So obviously there's two people in there. And he says, one guy is saying, inside there, I don't care for English, you're just going to have to wait until nightfall. What does he have to wait for? He's going to go to the bathroom. How many times do hearing parents say to hearing kids, you know, you're driving the car, no, wait, you're going to hold it, no, you're going to wait. You never say that to deaf kids. You know, wait, well, I mean, you would say wait, but have to wait is such a hearing way of saying this. So it really wouldn't be funny if you didn't know that. It really is. Again, with the background knowledge, if you don't understand this is not funny. If you don't understand the life cycle of the salmon, you never got access to that in science class, right? Why would a fish want to be taking a boat upstream? Wouldn't be funny. Very funny. Inference is a huge one that deaf kids never get enough of. They do stories, they do lots of stories in schools, and the teachers ask them straight out, the three bears. Who were the three bears? What did Goldilocks eat? What chair did she break? All explicit questions that are right there. They don't ask questions like, why do you think she went out in the woods alone? You know, or why do you think she went into a bear's house? Stuff that they have to pull stuff together. They don't think that way because they're not asked to think that way. In a much higher level questioning type. And those are the kind of questions that we see on our state tests. We never see explicit tests. We always see inferential or evaluative. So one way we start teaching deaf kids about inference is with cartoons, without print. This is more adult. I mean, kids are like, why is that funny? Women find this funny. And then we ask them, why is this funny? We have to come, where are they? First, setting. Where are they? They're in the bathroom. How do you know? And giving all the cues of how they know, and then why she scratched her head and all that stuff to develop that. Then with print. This one is not as easy as you think, though, because the phrasing in it is a hearing way of asking something mischievous, like, hey, you thinking what I'm thinking? It's not a, are you thinking what I am thinking? It's not a nice thing. It's like, you want to do something bad? It's a negative thing. And then you have to pull together, what are they thinking? And what does the snow have to do with it? And what does the kid with his mouth have to do with it? And what does the fact that bird poop is white and snow is white has to do with it? All that stuff pulling it out. But that's inferential, and that stuff deaf kids never get enough of and need more and more and more of. The final factor, let me zip through this part. The final factor of a fourth reason why they just hit this plateau is when you look at text and how it changes so fast, you will be amazed at what the different grade levels look like. Because it sounds like, fourth grade, well, that doesn't sound too high, but it is not easy. The text in textbooks that are, reading books that kids are reading, whatever they're reading, it changes by number of words, by sentence length, by kind of words that go in, by the topics, tons of stuff. So for example, at the kindergarten level, and all I did was take excerpts of paragraphs from actually reading passage tests and just put out about an average size paragraph. And I didn't look, I randomly just picked out a chunk at each level. So at the beginning K1 level, you have simple sentences, pretty straightforward. The kid who's transliterating would do okay with this because it is pretty straightforward. After that, he's dead though. There's 4 sentences in this paragraph. There's 27 words, which when you divide it, gives you a mean length of the sentence average of about 6 to 7 words. So at the kindergarten level, there's about 6 to 7 words per sentence, average. And this pans out pretty much. Now this is second grade. And the first sentence has a relative clause in it. I mean, immediately, the game gets ratcheted up, right? Ben is a friendly dog. Who doesn't want to get in trouble? For deaf kids, like, what's a question in the middle of that sentence? In this paragraph, we have 5 sentences, 56 words. Now the sentence length has gone to double. Kindergarten was 6 words, now it's about 12 words. So it's doubled already. And if kids are trying to read by word by word by word, there's a memory rule that says there's no way you're going to get to it, even if you could remember all of those. This is third grade. Same basic size paragraph. In this paragraph, now at third grade, there's 3 sentences, 53 words, same number of words, but the defining factor here is that sentence length has now gone almost triple that first one, to about 17 to 18 words. Doesn't sound like a lot to us, but to them it's huge. That is a huge number of words if you're trying to transliterate. And the fourth grade one, I'll give you a minute to read it. Two sentences, 47 words, so the word count stays kind of the same, second, third, fourth. 47 words, an average of 23 words per sentence. That's only 4th grade, and it just goes up from there. So that's one of the other reasons. Deaf kids are not taught to learn to think when they're little, and just expand and do the things that hearing kids do with language. They can't get to grade level reading the way we've been doing it forever. There's a reason we get to 3rd, 4th grade, just keep cycling and cycling with it, because we keep trying to find ways to make English more Englishy for them. We refuse to look at American Sign Language as the most viable way of doing it first. We have done this for years and years and years, and only small pockets in the United States have been willing to say, wait a minute, this is wrong. Let's do it. Take it from deaf people,
go from a deaf perspective and build it up from there. And these are the programs that we've had success with. So it can be done. It's a lot of fun to do. It's not hateful work. It's fun work. The kids that I work with, they all went to college. Didn't have to go to college. That's not for me the measure of success. I would like them to, but they did, and that's what matters. But I hope you enjoyed it. I know I kind of clipped through some stuff, but that's it. That's it for that.